Okay, good morning, everybody. I know people are still coming in the meeting, but I want to go ahead and get started. I think everybody's pretty much muted, so I do ask that you keep yourself muted, especially with a group this large, so that there's not background noise. What's going to happen today, let me scroll my presentation down. So this is just our getting to know high school. This is the first parent Zoom of the 21-22 school year. So sorry. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the school, who is who. We're going to do some introductions. I have a lot of the all of our administrators on here, our counselors are on here. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves to all of you. And I'm going to talk about how we communicate with parents at Piedmont Hills, and then we're going to spend a good amount of time answering all of your questions. I am recording this, and I am going to send out the recording of this later today. So if you feel like you missed something, don't worry. And then for parents who couldn't join us, they would also be able to see it. This presentation that we have, I will also send that out. So don't feel like you guys need to like madly be taking notes because I am going to send this out. So this presentation doesn't have a tremendous amount of information and it's not very long, but it does have people's phone numbers and email addresses. So that would be valuable for you. And like I said, I am going to send this out. Okay. So to start, this is the vision and mission of Piedmont Hills High School. Piedmont Hills High School is to be a community-based learning center where an atmosphere of success, innovation, and self-empowerment will exist for all students. Our mission is to create a school community that provides all students with a strong educational foundation that prepares them to thrive in a global society while also developing the skills needed to achieve their potential. And so we really do live this. This isn't just like words that we put up. We really do believe very strongly in this vision and mission. And then our school-wide learner outcomes, which is what we want the students to be and when they graduate from Piedmont Hills, outside of just their academic curriculum, like what other skills do we want them to learn while at Piedmont Hills? And so that's our Pirate Way. And we have the acronym for PIRATE. Problem solvers, independent thinkers, responsible individuals, adaptable learners, technologically literate, and effective communicators. And I'll be honest that this is one of my favorite things about Piedmont Hills is our Pirate Way. I talk about it all the time. We emphasize it a lot in the classrooms and with our teachers and with our students. And so that's something that we really strongly believe in here. All right, so do introductions. So staff members that are on the screen, when it comes to your name, go ahead and just unmute yourself and introduce yourself. I'll start. I've been talking this whole time. If you hadn't already figured out, my name is Ginny Davis and I am the principal. That is my contact information there. And like I said, I will share out this presentation, so don't feel like you need to be copying down all these phone numbers and email addresses. Nancy, you want to go?
Sure. My name is Nancy Pereira. I'm the Associate Principal of Education Services. So, I'll go into, I guess, what I do all the time. But anyway, the best way to reach me is my email, and the phone is fine. I prefer email, though, because I could respond at a lot of different times of the day with that option. So that would be great. Thank you. Andrew?
Hi, Andrew Campbell. I'm the Associate Principal of Administrative Services. For the most part, that means I do what we consider safety issues, so attendance, facilities, discipline, and things like that matter. Just like Nancy, the best way to contact me is through the email, and I'll get back to you when I have an opportunity.
And then next up, we have our counseling team. So Ms. Cody Miller.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ms. Miller Cody, and I work with students' last names A through DR. The best way to contact me is through email or my phone number, which is listed there.
Sorry, I reversed your names.
Okay.
A little dyslexic, sorry. Jill.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jill Shoopman. I work with students, typically last names DU through LED. I do want to have a little disclosure here. We are currently working on our counseling assignments, so there will be some slight changes. And so we'll email our students and parents probably by end of this week or first part of next week with any changes to our counseling assignments and how best to reach us.
Thank you for that, Jill. I meant to tie that on. I put the old alpha and I was like, well, this is how we're operating right now. So I decided to keep it. Ms. Nguyen.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Chen Tu Nguyen, and I'm working with students with last name from LEE to Nguyen, first name M. And as Ms. Schumann just mentioned, the caseload assignment might be changed. You can contact me by email or phone, but I prefer email.
Great. Is Natalie on? I haven't seen her. Okay, so Natalie Rodriguez Garcia is also our counselor, and that is her information. And then go ahead, Ms. Ellis.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Ellis. I'm one of the counselors, and I work with students with last names SP to Z. And you can contact me by number or email, but I do prefer email.
Great, thank you. I think actually that's probably a good rule of thumb for every single person if you're trying to contact them. I think we all prefer email. Phones can get a little, and then you're in meetings and the phone can get backed up. I know personally, as principal, I get a lot of cold call sales. Every time I pick up my phone, I feel like it's a salesperson trying to sell me like masks and dust dividers now. So I tend not to pick up my phone, but so email is definitely the best way. You're definitely going to get a faster response by email. Next up, we have our advisors and social workers, none of which I think are on the Zoom right now because they're all in meetings. Our social workers might be jumping on. Oh, Yvonne's on here. Good job. Let me introduce our advisors first. So our two advisors, there's a district-wide advisor meeting right now, and so that's where they are. But we have two advisors. Actually, Andrew, do you want to introduce them and say a little bit about what they do?
I think they could probably do that for themselves.
I don't think they're here. They're at the advisor.
Oh, they're not here. Never mind. Jeff Dowisher, Justine Kunkel are our student advisors. They work with, the way that we like to put it is building relationships between students and teachers. A lot of the time that we get called the discipline team. So they're the ones who get called when a student is not behaving appropriately in a classroom. And then we work to repair that kind of the issue.
Great, thank you. And then Yvonne Gunter.
Hello.
Go ahead.
I'm Yvonne. I'm one of the school social workers here. Best way to get in touch with me is definitely email. If your students are struggling, maybe having anxiety, depression, hard time sleeping, anything that gets in the way of them being happy, healthy, and successful here, that's what we do. You can also just refer your student to us by going on the new website under students, and it's mental health and wellness. And there's a link there for you to refer your students. Confidential therapy, consults with us, whatever it is that you need.
And then is Kayla on yet? I know
She
said, oh, good.
I am.
Yay.
Hi, thank you. My name is Kayla Marshall. I'm also a school social worker. I'm working mostly with the students with the last names M through Z. And yes, great to know everybody. Nice to see everybody.
We are very excited that we finally have two social workers, that it's not just Yvonne carrying the load for everybody. And so that's really, we're really excited to start the school year off that way. Really huge for us. So next up, we have activities, athletics, and parent support. Mr. Reed and Mr. Peasley are not on, but Mr. Reed is our activities director. So things like clubs, all ASB activities, our rallies, all of that, the dances, all of that fall under him. And then Matt Keasley is our new athletic director. He's not new to Piedmont. He's been at Piedmont for many years. He's our football director. He used to, about 20 years ago, was the activities director. I'm not the activities director, the athletic director, and then stepped away from that. And he is stepping back in. So he is our new athletic director. And then Rupert, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Rupert Rosales. I'm currently in the attendance office, right on the left-hand side. And if you have any questions or need help getting a live person, I'm the person you go to for all parent questions. If I can't answer the question, my job is to help you guys navigate who would answer that question. And if you're having trouble reaching somebody, it's always good to call or email me, and I answer every email and call. And that's pretty much it. Nice to meet everybody.
Thank you, Robert. Sorry about my phone ringing. I was trying to get the ringer off and it was not working. You see, I don't answer my phone, but I'm busy right now. All right, and then for our attendants, they're not on the call, but this is who you need to report attendance. I know this is always kind of a big thing with parents. Who do you call for attendance? So it's divided by last names. Last name A through L is Jocelyn Ramirez. That's her. You can email her. You can call her. Again, this is especially with attendants. They get a lot of calls, especially in the morning. They probably aren't going to pick up the phone. You're going to leave a message, but they do go through those messages. Okay. And then Ursula Garcia is last names M through Z, and same thing. You can email or call. Okay, so finally, what I wanted to kind of just go over real quick is ways that I communicate with parents and then what we do as a school. There's two big ways. The first one is the Sunday night Pirate Notes email, which I started this past Sunday to start the school year. Those don't go out. So if we have a week off, for a vacation, that first weekend, you won't get an email at the start of the vacation, but you will right before school is about to resume. So just realize that. I used to send them out through School Loop, and with School Loop, quasi going away, we're sending them out to Infinite Campus. So if you did not get that email contact, though I think a lot of you probably did because you're here, but if you did not get it, contact Rupert Rosales, and he will make sure that we have the right email address for you so that you will start getting them. And then also this meeting right here. So we do our Thursday morning Zoom with the principal, like we're doing right now. And I do this every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. They run about an hour. So 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. is the hour. I will always record them. I will always send them out. So I know that people work. And sometimes it's difficult to come in, though I know a lot of times it's more convenient with Zoom as opposed to when we used to have them here in person, because maybe at work you can like be on the Zoom and listen and still be double dipping, I guess. So what we share in these, like today, we're doing important school information. When the counselors do a presentation, we tend to follow up with and have the counselors come on into the Zoom with the principal to share more information and to answer more questions. So we do a lot of important school information, but mostly what we do is we talk about how to parent a teenager. Yvonne and I, our social worker, traditionally have always run these meetings together. Kayla's going to be joining in with us this year, which we're super excited about, but we'll have a team of 3. And we talk about, really heavy issues and give you advice. Yvonne and I are both parents of teenagers, so we are living it right along with you. And so we tend to be very open about stuff that we are struggling with our own teenagers. And I wouldn't necessarily say we're giving advice, more like fellow support, because we're right there with you. Sometimes we have advice. Sometimes we need to take our own advice, but we tend to be pretty honest about that too. So I hope that you guys can make this a habit. Just put it in your calendar, Thursday morning at 9 a.m. And join in with us. The link, the Zoom link, I will send that out in my Sunday email every week, but it's actually going to be the same exact Zoom link every week. I'm not going to change it. Hopefully you're able to do that. But like I said, I will always record these meetings and then send out the recording later on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get to your questions, which there are a ton of them in the chat. I'm actually going to stop sharing so you don't have to see the screen anymore. Let's start up at the beginning. All right, so please explain the collaboration rally extended lunch schedules for what for and how often. Good question. So The collaboration schedule is probably the most important one that you need to know besides the regular bell schedule, which we have, today we're on a regular bell schedule, but yesterday we were on a collaboration schedule. We are on a collaboration schedule just about every Wednesday. So just assume that if it's a Wednesday, we're going to be on a collaboration bell schedule. There is at the very, very end of the school year when we do senior finals, there's 1 week where we're going to have just regular school and on a Wednesday, but that's 1 week and it's at the very end of the school year. So honestly, don't worry about that until we get to May, and I will give you plenty of warning when we get to May. But other than that, assume that if it's Wednesday, we have a collaboration schedule, okay? The rally schedules are when we have school rallies. We are having a school rally a week from tomorrow on the 20th. It's going to be a special schedule with that I will send out to you guys in my Sunday email. I have to make the schedule because we're going to do, normally we have one rally and we pile everybody into the gym. Obviously that's a little worrisome and kind of gross with COVID. So we are going to do 2 rallies and we're going to do them outside in the stadium. So we're splitting it so that it's safer, but it will be a slightly different, but that's when we do like the school prep, and school spirit stuff. That makes high school fun, which is what kids missed last year. And the extended lunch schedule is we usually use that when ASB has activities or we're going to do like an event at lunch that we need a little bit more time for. So we're actually going to be doing an extended lunch schedule on August 27th for our mini club day, when that's when kids at lunch will be able to go around at tables and like learn about all the different clubs that we're offering. I would say that extended lunch schedule, we only use it once or twice a year, maybe 3 times. It's not very often. And actually for you guys as parents, I don't think the extended lunch, because I don't think the start time and end time is changed in an extended lunch schedule. So it's more just the kids and like when the bells ring within the day. Okay. So is there a deadline for when a student wants to switch? So there is, because we don't tend to want to go too far into the school year. And what they need to do is they need to do that schedule change form that's on the website. I linked it, I think in my email. I don't know, Nancy, if you want to say something else about that.
Yeah, well, and I was very vague with my description, so I apologize for that. I actually oversee schedules and testing specifically. So yeah, classes are really full. So, we're certainly wanting to hear what students are needing or wanting to share that they are having issue with their schedule. But the schedule really is built based on their requests. So therefore, most of the classes are full. Right now, the changes we are making are if there were some type of scheduling errors, such as the wrong level math class or maybe a second language class. And also maybe a requirement if a senior needed a requirement that was not properly placed on their schedule, maybe an art class they forgot about or something like that. So very few of those types of changes, but that's where we're at with the schedule. And the counselors have been working through the students' requests and juggling emails and getting all of that situated. So we're working towards having the schedules. The schedules are final other than the ones who may have these isolated situations.
Thank you. As I mentioned, this presentation will be shared. Good morning, Virginia. Welcome back. Excellent. Parent login for Infinite Campus so that we can help track your kids' schoolwork. Not yet. Hopefully soon. I'm actually really disappointed that we don't have it yet. Would have been nice for the district to have that ready for the start of the school year. And all of the emails from our IT director keep saying it's coming soon. So I don't know what soon means. That may be next week. It may be the week after. I know that they're very quickly working on that. And I actually, because they said they wanted to pilot schools with parents and like have certain schools start first to make sure that everything's working. I volunteered Piedmont Hills to try it out because I know all of you will be using it and be great to let us know if there's problems. But that will come. You will have a login to Infinite Campus that you will be able to access and see everything. It's just not ready yet. But yes, if you are going to have it. And as soon as it's available, we will push that out and mass, like make sure that you guys know about it. Okay. What are the open hours for the school library? So our librarian is here Mondays and Tuesdays and every other Friday. I need to sit down with my admin team and look at our school budget and look at having what we could do to extend it longer. We used to always do the homework center in past years, but with the district paying for online tutoring, it just kind of seems like we don't necessarily need a homework center for tutoring, but I understand that parents may want to have the library open for after school, like, you know, you want some place for them to stay. So we're going to look into that, and I will let you guys know when we have it figured out on when it will be open. And actually, if there's any parents that want to volunteer to like be in the library after school, that could be an option too. So go ahead and email me if you think that's something that you might be interested in. I can get you the volunteer form. You have to fill out a form. You have to get fingerprinted and everything in order to be a volunteer at the school, but that is an option. Protocols for transitioning back to virtual learning due to the rapid spread of COVID-19. Will the school district, city, or county make this decision? So not the city. This has all been working under the county. So the school district under COVID-19 has been following the direction of the county. When we originally shut down back on March 13th of 2020, that was, you know, under the direction of the county. The school district does have procedures in place that if the rates get, you know, certain, like it's at a certain point, that they, you know, they may shut down a certain school and like that sort of thing. So they do have, and if you actually look on the district's website of the COVID-19 plan, then then you would see that and what the plan is. I'm sure it needs to actually be updated now that we're back in school. Our hope is that we don't have to go back, but you know, can you load money onto the student's ASB card or school account? So there's not something that no, ASB cards don't work that way. And like we probably, you know, ASB cards are make it sound like it's super fancy. I believe it's just a sticker on their actual ID card. What the ASB card does is it gives them free admission into the sporting events, athletic events on campus. But it has to be on campus. Like if they go to an event at Independence, like the ASB card for Piedmont Hills doesn't work. So it's events on campus. I'm to be completely honest, I don't know if we're going to get to the point where we have school dances this year. If we do have school dances, they would be outside, but it would give them discounted rates on things like that. But it's not something that they load on and spend money. It doesn't really work like that. The site for parents and transcript students to track their entire grade records and transcript, that is Infinite Campus, and that's when you're going to have the parent portal for. Can parents and students still use School Loop to check their child's grades and homework? Can I add a child to my portal? Or do we have to sign up and use Infinite Campus from now on? You haven't, I know you haven't received any emails on how to sign on because they don't have the parent portal open yet. So some teachers will still use School Loop. And I'm going to be telling teachers, right now, we're training them on how to use the Infinite Campus gradebook. And so this week, the teachers are deciding, do they want to continue using School Loop or do they want to move on to the Infinite Campus gradebook? As a school, we are recommending that they use the Infinite Campus gradebook. School Loop, what's going on with School Loop and why we're moving away from School Loop is School Loop, I'll give you some background. School Loop was sold. And then the tech support for School Loop has not been great. Last year, those of you that are returning parents, you may remember it was right around the 5th grading period, like School Loop kind of crashed and a lot of teachers lost a lot of grades. And it was like a whole big thing. And I don't know how much of it like we like the kids and the parents were actually aware of it. Amongst the teachers, it was a nightmare. And so the district doesn't trust School Loop with the tech support, and that's really why we're moving away from it. But we're in this transition year right now, where next year the district will like have a big, they'll move on to something else. We don't know what it's going to be yet. The plan is to have this year to like have the district and teachers and parents really explore what are the different options out there to replace School Loop so that we find the best one. So we are in this transition year. So what I'm going to be asking teachers to do like next week is to make it clear to the parents what they're going to be using. Are they going to be using School Loop? Are they going to be using Infinite Campus, so that you will know where you can check your kids' grades? Okay. So I ask that you guys just be patient with us as we're getting this set up. We will, in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be set up. Okay. Email turnaround time for leadership counseling and academic teams. We asked teachers and everybody to respond to emails within 24 to 48 hours. It just, at the start of the school year, it might, hopefully it's not slower than 48 hours. Right now, especially our counseling teams and our administrators, we're getting a lot of emails. We try to stay on top of them, but when you have like everybody's coming into your office all day and then you've got emails, so it can get a little backed up. In a typical time, I would say 24 hours is probably safe. Right now, maybe 48. Are you sure that you have my right email address regarding grades and assignments that you've emailed me? Because I have not received any emails. So I tend to be pretty good. So if I've missed your email, I'm sorry, but I don't, doesn't seem familiar. So I don't know yet if you guys are going to receive daily emails from the new system. You might. We'll find out. Nancy and Andrew, you guys both use the Infinite Campus Gradebook. Do you know, did it send daily emails to parents?
There is a communications option in there.
Okay.
I don't think it sends out information like if you update. I don't think there's an automatic email that gets sent out.
A messenger.
So I think it's just kind of like an open platform where the parents will check whenever they want to and have that available. It's live, so it's just constantly turning.
Yeah, I don't remember doing updates like that, but they can do the messenger, right? Yeah.
Yvonne and Jen Cody, they didn't see your faces when you guys were talking.
I turned my camera on at that time.
All right.
It's on. Hello.
That's her. Yvonne, you gotta unmute yourself.
I'm here. Hello.
All right, thank you. Nancy, do you want to handle the PSAT question?
Maybe, let me check. We actually haven't heard an official word yet on PSAT. So in late summer, it was still we went from a no to a maybe. So I don't think so, but the 9th grade test is usually, it's called the 8th and 9th grade PSAT. So it's not quite the national merit that you would see with a 10th grade or the 11th grade type of situation. If parents in the meantime are wanting to get extra support or resources as far as PSAT goes, Khan Academy has a really great service that's free that you can just sign up. If you're familiar with Khan Academy, you just sign up, the student can actually do an assessment, and that goes from there with proper ways to practice for test prep for the SAT. The other little part to that is the CSUs I might need some counseling help on this one, but I believe that the CSUs and UCs are not asking for SAT currently, and we're kind of not sure what's going to happen in the next for like the freshmen and the sophomore, for example. There's been a lot of talk about getting rid of that test altogether for CSUs and UCs. So it's kind of this weird little limbo place right now with College Board and the universities in California. I don't know if any of you counselors want to add to that.
I can kind of jump in. So counselors go to workshops for the CSUs and UCs, and then we bring that information back to our parents during the parent nights. And so another push to make sure that you attend our parent nights. They'll be on Zoom, and very soon we'll release those dates to you. But that's why we do encourage you to wait on those questions until those parent nights, just so we can give you the most up-to-date information as we attend those different conferences.
Okay.
Great. Andrea, we do not have a boys basketball varsity coach yet. Our boys basketball coach resigned. He is now teaching at Willow Glen, and I guess is going to coach there too, whatever. So we actually haven't posted. I don't think the district has posted the position yet. I think they're about to, and then we'll get on hiring. Honestly, it's been right now just getting the school year started, and then we'll focus on that. But certainly in the next month or so, hopefully we have I have somebody in mind that I want to do it, but we'll see. So yes, parent emails you receive from now on is going to be from Infinite Campus. So when, like, you don't need to register for an Infinite Campus account just yet. Well, there's actually, you can't just yet. But we can, if you're getting the emails and it comes like no reply, it's kind of weird because it doesn't say who it's automatically from. So I've been trying when I send them out to put my name at the end so that you guys know it's from me. So we are using Infinite Campus for that. And actually, for my weekly emails, hopefully in the next week or so, we are going to have this new, like, it's going to be this fancy, like, newsletter format where I'm going to be able to load in pictures and everything. And you guys are going to be very impressed by my fanciness with it, but we'll be able to send that out. You will need to register for a parent portal account to see your kids' attendance and grades and that sort of thing. And like I said, once we have the information on how to do that, we will send that out. If you have not received any emails from Infinite Campus yet, contact Rupert Rosales and he will make sure that we have the correct email address for you. I think we answered the schedule change question. There's a direct message to me. Is there a school bully program in place at Piedmont Hills? We have a bully tip line that you can report incidences. Mr. Campbell, do you want to talk about that?
There's a off-campus group called Say Anything that has an anonymous tip line that all of our students can use to give us information about any concerns that they have that involve students on our campus. It is anonymous. We follow up. We've had phone calls at 2 or 3 in the morning for tips that we've gotten, and we act on them as quickly and appropriately as possible.
Thank you. Are there parent volunteer options? Yes, like I mentioned before, we probably could use some supervision after school in the library. That would be great. Also, if you are a parent and want to get involved, I would recommend getting involved with our Parent Booster Club. They are also always looking for somebody. I think is anybody on here from the Parent Boosters that wants to talk about that?
Good morning. I am
Great.
very, very new, just learning about it since this is my son is a sophomore and all last year we were online. So I haven't been too active, but we do have monthly meetings. I believe it's the second Tuesday of the month. Right now we're really coordinating an upcoming event, golf tournament that we're going to be participating in. So if anybody's interested in participating in the golf tournament, we will love volunteers. That's scheduled currently for October 16th. And our next meeting for golf is going to be next Tuesday evening. I believe it's at 6 p.m. But you can find all of our information on the school website for Parent Boosters Club.
Great, thank you. How often would the counselors meet, assign students under them every week? No, not every week. Once a semester is the goal that they meet with the different classes and the students. So if a student wants to meet with their counselor, they can make an appointment and see their counselor.
Just to kind of add, there's different presentations that the counselors do every semester as whole grade. So they'll do ninth grade presentations. Ninth grade gets a little bit more, it's heavy because it's the first year they're meeting here, obviously. So there's different activities. And then 10th grade has certain activities, 11th grade and 12th grade. So from there, students may have more questions, or then they might generate concerns and go to their counselor that way. But yeah, there's stuff going on ongoing every semester.
Can a student ask for more lunch if it's not enough for them? Probably, but I would say get the breakfast too. Tell them to get the breakfast during break. The lines are shorter during break, and we were actually commenting the other day that we couldn't believe how much food they gave them at the breakfast time. And then 2 hours later is lunch. So tell them to get both. Will there be one-on-one online tutoring? There won't be the tutoring time that we had during distance learning, that it was part of the Bell schedule where there was a tutorial time. That does not exist in our normal Bell schedule, which we are back to, because we're back to in-person learning. There is going to be online tutoring. It's not from the same company that the district was using last year, which was tutor.com. We're switching to a new company. And as soon as I get the information about that, I will let you know. It's called Paper, which I'm familiar with. It's I think you guys will like it. They're very good. But there is, and it's 24/7. So if your kid, hopefully they're not up at 2 a.m. doing their work. But teenagers sometimes do that. A lot of times do that. And so a tutor would be available if they're stuck, like on their math homework. A tutor will be available.
I do want to add, the students do email me. They return my emails at night, very late. It's kind of funny because then I'm also up and I see them, and then we're having these email exchanges. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I'm sure they're just getting started. So just FYI, parents.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Angela put in, yes, please join the boosters. And she put in the form to join the boosters in the chat. So if you guys see that, please do join the parent boosters. It's a great way for parents to get involved. Okay, and then Rupert put in his email address and what to do to get your email updated. Thank you, Rupert. Yes, will the ninth graders also be able to join sports teams like basketball and other? Yes. So they have to try out. Honestly, depending on the sports, some of our sports, they'll take everybody, but a lot of our sports, they have to try out, like especially basketball. And so they're not guaranteed a place on the team, but they can try out. If you guys look at our website under athletics, that's when they would post when the tryouts are going to be. Right now, we're in the fall season. So just last Friday, right before school started, that's when the fall season officially started. So they are practicing right now for the fall season. Our fall sports are football, girls volleyball, cross country, which is both boys and girls golf, and girls tennis are the fall sports. And so I know last year, remember, like all the sports were whooshed into like, you know, basically the spring. We're back into like the normal typical sports seasons. So what we do for planning the schedule, and I don't know, Jill or Nancy, you want to handle this question, like counselors there'll be presentations, and they will meet with their counselor for their schedule for next year. We start that process middle to end of January.
And that's right. The only thing I would add is we also have a parent night just to keep you in the loop about the process. So I'd really encourage you to come to our parent night so you know all the different steps and deadlines.
So the question, there was a direct message question to me about last year we started at 8:30 and that there is California law, and will the early schedule end soon? Yes, this is the last year of the early schedule. The staff decided last year, you know, in the spring, we were still in distance learning, and we talked about, should we go ahead and change our bell schedule for this year? And they decided, like, honestly, everything distance learning, like we're like, we can't figure out a new bell schedule right now. So we're going to be figuring out our bell schedule for next year during this year, but there will be a different bell schedule next year. The California law says that high schools need to start at 8:30. So we will no longer have early start next year. So I don't know what the bell schedule is going to be, other than we won't start for 8:30. If a student is ill, how long should the student stay home? So I think that that's going to depend. If you think that they've been exposed to COVID, have they been vaccinated? I know officially we can't require vaccinations. I do recommend that you guys get your kids vaccinated if they haven't already been vaccinated. Andrew, Nancy, and I, we've had all of our kids vaccinated. I think it's really important. If a student is ill, and one thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to send it in my Sunday email to parents, is the district has put together a flow chart on, if you student has been exposed to COVID and what to do. And like, it has questions like, have you been vaccinated? Yes, no. Are you showing symptoms? Yes, no, and what to do. So certainly I think the rule of thumb, typically if a student has fever, they have to be 24 hours fever free. Your kids and how they get sick. If you feel like it's just allergies, you're the parent and you can use your best judgment. We do ask though, that if your kid's sick, that you do keep them home. And I've also, on the flip side, talked to my teachers that they can't do crazy requirements, like you must take the test on this day and like you won't be able to take it if you're absent. I've told my teachers they can't do that this year, because if we are asking kids to stay home if they're sick to, make this return to in-person learning work, then the teachers need to do their part too. So if you actually hear of teachers doing crazy requirements like that, I do want you to tell on them and let me know, and I will put a stop to that. So I would say, like, how long should the students stay home? Until they're symptom free. Okay, it's a good rule of thumb. So the lunch, I know the lunch lines are, especially the first day of school, were a little bit crazy. So a couple of things that are going to happen. We are hiring students. If you have your child wants to earn a little bit of extra money, we put it out. They can earn $14 an hour and serve lunches in the kitchen. And it's a great little side job for them. So they just have to go and talk to the kitchen manager who is at school and get an application. But as we hire, and we do that every year, obviously didn't do it last year, but we always have students that work in the kitchen. As we get more people working in the kitchen, we can open up more lines and that will make it go faster. They are going to get more efficient with the lunches. Giving everybody free lunch, they really just didn't know what to expect at the start of school. And so yesterday, the lines were better than they were on Tuesday. I'm hoping today they're even better. They will get more efficient and better at this as it goes on. But our goal is that everybody gets their food within the first 10 minutes of lunch. But there's obviously been some kinks this week with like doing it for the first time, but it will get faster. Sophomores often don't have electives because that sophomore year they add in world history, and so they have an extra core class that they didn't have their freshman year. They also have PE, and if they're taking their second year of a world language, they're not going to have an elective. Sophomores usually don't have an elective. That's not unusual. For the protocol, if a kid tests positive, yes, yes, there is a protocol. And so, like I said, the flow chart that I'm going to send out, and actually I'll probably, when I send out the recording of this, I will tag that on and put the flow chart. Let me write myself a note to do that. And then also, yes, if somebody tests positive at school and is in the class, we'll notify you. You'll get an email, a letter emailed to you. And if you are a close contact, however, then you'll get a phone call and like, hey, you were a close contact to somebody that tested positive. My son went back and he was in hybrid last year. So he was actually at school 1 week on and 1 week off since October of last year. So I've gone through this with my kid actually being in in-person school, and it happens. Honestly, I probably got a letter from the school where they emailed out the letter that there's been a positive exposure every 2 weeks or so. It doesn't mean your kid's been exposed. So, you know, and the kid who gets, you know, academic support, I mean, they're not going to get like a distance learning teacher and everything, you know, it's going to be like they're out sick, but you know, everything, what's great about being on distance learning last year is pretty much every single one of our teachers converted to Google Classroom, which means that the kid will be able to see everything and actually be at home and be able to follow along with, and hopefully not get too far behind. Child did summer school, was unable to complete because ended. I'm assuming that means in cyber high. Nancy, do you want to, what are like a kid that didn't finish cyber high in the summer?
Yeah, if a student didn't finish cyber high in the summer, they would be able, we'll be starting cyber high again. We have to get the school year started and kind of go through all the transcripts again as a final review. So we're probably going to be starting in I would say in the next 2 weeks from now, is the goal. So yeah, their classes are there still. They would just need to reopen them and they can continue where they left off.
Answered the questions about lunch. Are there leadership? We have a leadership class. Yes, we have a leadership class. How to enroll in, you're not going to have to enroll in online tutoring. Once they get it up and running, the kids will just be able to log on and do it. The hours are 24/7. Textbooks are being issued. So what we're doing this year for textbooks is teachers are making appointments to go to the book room and take their class to the book room and get their books. Not all teachers use a textbook. So you might have some classes where they don't get a textbook. So hopefully they'll be getting all their textbooks in the next couple of weeks. But there isn't like a set time that all the freshmen are going to go. It just depends on the class and they're going with their teacher. When will the tutoring program start? I'm not sure. Honestly, you guys, what happened, I mean, give the background on why everything's slow with like the Infinite Campus portal and the tutoring program being slow. The district's business department, they need people to work there. They're very, very, very understaffed. So if you guys are looking for a job, our district is very much hiring. So they're just really understaffed. And so everything has just been really slow. And, you know, these companies like the tutoring company, paper.com, they want to be paid before they start everything. So it's just getting all the payments out and then the Infinite Campus, like getting it. So it hopefully very soon. The library is not open after school right now, but hopefully soon. Yes, COVID protocol for cleaning the classrooms. Andrew, you want to cover that?
We have stocked every classroom with hand sanitizer at every door. We're asking students to use the hand sanitizer when they go in. Our custodial staff has been trained on the appropriate measures in terms of cleaning surfaces daily. So every day the surfaces that are touched most frequently are getting cleaned. In addition, our district has actually put in a monitoring system to monitor airflow in every single classroom in every single building in the district. And I was just talking to somebody, one of our ESTA representatives, and they were saying they were talking with one of our district personnel, and they were looking at the phone at different classrooms and measuring the airflow that's in every classroom, like live all the time. So we've done everything that we can to make it as safe as possible. When we have individual events, then we handle it as quickly as we can. I mean, we had a kid throw up in class today, and we went and cleaned that up within 10 minutes. If we find that we know that a student maybe test positive, we're going to probably spend a little extra time in the classroom that the student's been in.
Thank you. Okay, there's a lot of questions on here and we only have 5 minutes left. So I'm telling you right now, we're not going to get to every question. But what I will promise is I will download the chat, and what I will do is any questions that we did not address, I will answer them in my Sunday email to parents, okay? Because I don't want to keep you on here all day, but a lot of questions we've actually covered. One of my counselors wanted me to remind you that the email turnaround, the 24 to 48 hours, does not include weekends and holidays. So they we do encourage our staff to take their time on weekends and holidays and not answer emails. I very much encourage them to do that. I do that myself. Just so you know, for me, I don't answer emails in the evening, and I don't usually, unless it's like an emergency, I don't answer them over breaks and on weekends. Can the kids use an open 7th to take other honors or AP classes? Well, it depends if there's room. You know, we do allow kids to take 7 periods, you know, and a lot of times kids that need to take, you know, additional, especially when they get to junior and senior and they want to take the double block AP science classes, a lot of times they do have 7 periods. We do allow that. At this point, classes are full. So no, it's not a situation that a kid can just add a class right now. But when they're signing up for classes for next year, that is certainly something that could be open to them as a possibility. We've covered the PSAT question. On the staff's email, yes, my recommendation to parents this year, because School Loop is kind of, I'm encouraging, I don't want teachers to use School Loop for email at all because I don't trust School Loop. The best way for all of you is to email the staff member, the teacher, whoever you're trying to reach directly through Infinite Campus. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to double check on our staff website. I'm going to check all of the emails on there and make sure that they're all correct. And then once it is, I will send you guys the link to the list of all the email addresses for every single staff person so that you guys will all have it. The UC system is no longer using PSAT. Yes. Yeah. So the SAT, I don't know, Nancy or Jill, if anybody wants to comment on the UC.
So at one point they were talking about creating their own exam and having that be a requirement in a few years. And so again, I think it's probably best, there are so many changes right now based on the pandemic. I think it's probably best that we attend those conferences first, just so we give you the right information. But that is correct. For this year, the CSUs and UCs are not requiring the SAT. But is there a new test to come for some of our newest students? That's something that we'll need to find out during those workshops. And then again, we'll share that with you during our parent night. So great question.
For your kids to have an early schedule, our classes are very full. And especially for first period, we have 0 room in first period. There's no room. We are not allowed to overload the classes. We cannot do that. What score should a student earn on AP class exam for account? Usually it's a 3 or above on the AP exam. Some colleges, like your UC Berkeley's and like your higher end colleges, sometimes they require a 4 or a 5. Not a 4 would be the minimum, but usually a 3. Usually a 3 is considered passing. And the AP, that is something that we'll actually do a parent Zoom on just AP itself at some point later in the year, and really get into that in deeper. Is there a ping pong club? Yes, actually there is a ping pong club at school. Yes, there is. Mr. Barry is the advisor. I'm like, what's that word? Advisor for the ping pong club. Yeah, we were sad to see Coach Cuellar leave. No, don't panic about sophomores not having elective. Like I said, they don't have them. That's totally normal. We do not have a community service requirement for graduation. So that's always something that looks good on their college resume and something that they can add on as an extra. So we always encourage kids to get community service hours. That's not ever going to be a bad thing, but it is not something that is required for graduation. So AP Bio, AP Chem, after taking a chemistry course in a community college, yeah, you can, but it's going to do kind of the same thing. So that would be a question I would actually direct directly to your academic counselor, because that's going to be really like specific to the kid. And, you know, what should you do? So where do the proceeds from Booster Club events get allocated to? The Booster Club, I mean, and I can just answer this because I know it, but their finances are not tied to the school at all, but they support teachers. They give teachers like little scholarships for classroom supplies and things like that. They also fund a scholarship for graduating seniors. So there's a parent booster scholarship. They do a staff appreciation lunch every year for us that the teachers are very appreciative of. So the Parent Booster Club is very, very supportive of the teachers. If you guys, I know you guys aren't on campus now, but ask your students to go see the Pirate Cove Garden, which is over by Ms. Gunter's office. That was completely redesigned and paid for by the Booster Club. So they usually will like look at projects that we have on campus and help us out with that. Is there a breakfast or lunch? This will be the last question I answer. And like I said, any questions that I didn't get to, I will put in my Sunday email. Is there a breakfast or lunch menu somewhere? I think that the district will put that out later. They're kind of just like, they wanted to get the school year started. And then as they settle down and they get a routine and they know how many meals like are typical, because not every single kid is getting a meal. A lot of kids are, but not every single kid is. And so I'm hoping that they'll send out a menu that you would know what to get, because yeah, some things are better than others. I get that. Some days my kids will be like, no, I'm not eating that. And other days that's their favorite meal. I get it. So thank you all for coming. Like I said, we do this every week. I'll give you guys a preview of what we're talking about next week. Ms. Gunter and Ms. Marshall will be with me, and we're actually going to do a 2 week in a row where we're going to talk about stress and anxiety. Next week, we're going to be talking about stress for ourselves, of parent stress. And so how to manage our own personal stress. And then the following week, we'll talk about how to help your kids with their stress. So I really appreciate everybody coming. I like to give a hard stop at 10 o'clock so that we all can move on with our lives. But I know there's like, I see that I have 70 messages that I haven't gotten to on the chat, but I will go through, and anything that I did not address today, I will put in the Sunday email. Okay. And then of course you guys are free to email me at any time. You can call me, but I'm probably not going to answer the phone. You can leave me a message, but I prefer you to email me. Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody coming. And then we're gonna have a great start to the year. It's gonna be awesome. I'm very excited. I don't think I mentioned that. I'm super excited to see the kids back on campus. It's been wonderful.